there is no better place to make a party than a place not for making parties. The DJ back in the 80s was, I don't want to say like autism people, but I was somebody, nobody wants to be in the dark, in the basement. There was a better job to be at the door, like the doorman.
Wow.
People, they was crying, they was shouting. I said, what? That was crazy. Another world.
I'm gonna do a little intro. Normally when I interview people, I just cut up the interview and make another video. But I figure I'm gonna try to do this like a podcast, and if it works out, I'll post it as is, and if it doesn't, then I'll go back.
Yeah, you're gonna do a post-production after that if it's not good
if it doesn't
enough.
work out, so it's no pressure.
Okay. I'll let you do your stuff.
So I'll just do an intro just to say.
All right. Okay.
And you're gonna hear my attempts to pronounce a French name, but I'm here with
yeah.
Joachim Garraud.
I give you 8 on 10 for Joachim, but the family name, unfortunately, I've give you a 4 on 10.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because in French, A-U-D, it sounds like O, like Garraud, O, like O. But and it's my number one problem in US. Every time I give my name, Garraud. Anyway, do the way you like it. I'm good with this.
Well, I'll say more on that. I'll say more on that.
No pressure.
But Joachim Garraud was the subject of our last video. One of the main heroes of our last video about the Gagarin Party in Russia. And to my total surprise, he came into the comment section. He watched the video. He gave a stamp of approval, which is always a relief. And we're very fortunate that he's joining us now to just tell us a little bit more about his experiences in Russia and just in general, his experiences playing electronic music over the years. And about your last name, for one, I had to look up about 4 or 5 interviews just to hear how it was pronounced. And secondly, in every Russian newspaper, they spell your name Garo.
Exact.
So how would they pronounce it when you were in Russia?
They say Garraud because in Russia, the sound O is a common sound, and which is not the case in US. So that's why when you write in your own name in Russian, you use the phonetic the way it sounds to write the letters. So you change some letters. So Garraud, when you say this in French, you say Garraud, and in Russia this is Garo, like easy, basic.
Yeah, it's especially because in Russia there's no S's. They just use the C.
Yeah.
But I guess the place to start is just like, if you don't mind, the very beginning.
Okay.
Because you were studying piano and classically trained. Oh, and drums and percussion. Yes. And then you started to take an interest in DJing. And when I say DJing, I mean like literally spinning records, right?
Yes, correct. So I was lucky to get to have a classical music education when I was at school. So I learned piano and drums. And when you turn 16, I felt in love with computer. That was really my number one love. So I tried to merge music and computer. And so the way to merge music and computer back in the 80s, that was to start to produce some sound with computer. And we developed and we created the cheap sound, the toot, 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 this kind of sound. And then in the same time, I was very excited by sharing my passion with people. So be a DJ was the best way to play the record you like the most to a large audience. So I was playing on the radio. I have my own radio, which was piracy radio. That was not, I did my own radio at school. And then I was DJing during the weekend. So yeah, that was a global thing, making radio be a DJ and producing music. There was always the same passion with these three jobs. Uh, and back in the day, there was like in parallel because there was different jobs. Right now, this is only one job. When you're DJ, you're producing music, you're DJing, and you can do your own podcast. So this is only one job right now. Back in the day, there was three different jobs.
Mm. And how big were these? You said on the weekends you would DJ at parties.
Yeah, but I will give you a pictures that was crazy. There was a um, I was a mobile DJ. So mobile DJ, you just have your own stuff in the car of my father because I didn't get the driver license. I was too young. So my father have to drive me on the place, help me to move the heavy stuff, the speakers, connect the turntable, and I was playing some records for for my friends. So that was for maybe 10 to 15 people. That was my first audience. And then 30 years after that, you play in front of 80,000 people, but that's the same job.
Wow.
You playing music.
The same intensity, the same.
Yeah, the same, not intensity, because for sure when you are on the same stage, I give an example. This last few months, I was happy to do a tour in Australia, in Aussie. So you are on Friday, you have Jamiroquai. On Saturday, you are on that same stage, and on Sunday, this is Rage Against the Machine.
Wow.
So this is crazy because you get the same status and the same, not popularity, but the same impact on the crowd than this worldwide famous band. So that's the number one thing changed in my life, because when I start to be a DJ, nobody wants to be a DJ. Nobody wants to be in the dark, in the basement. Nobody can see us. When I start to be a DJ, I was in the basement. Nobody can see me playing. I was just playing my stuff. Nobody cares about music. They're just here to make the party. And then 30 years after, we are on stage under the light. And this is not the same job. This is a very different world right now.
It's an interesting point because in the 80s, to have music at a party, you obviously you need someone to literally be spinning the records.
Exactly, yes.
You can't just set a playlist and forget about it.
No,
And
you're right.
from what you're saying, it sounds like that was actually not a super desirable job because you have to be off in the corner. You can't be
Exactly.
hanging out with people, talking, drinking.
No, but you're right. There was the DJ back in the 80s was I don't want to say like autism people, but I was somebody solo with no girlfriend. Girls, there was not taking care about the DJ. There was much taking care about the boy we're gonna offer a drink.
For the
So
one who can dance.
oh yeah, exactly. So the DJ was not dancing, was not able to pay any drinks. He was just focused on his own record. So that was not very the sexiest icon of right now. So no, back in the days, that was much more. Better, that was a better job to be at the door, like the doorman, because you can do
Wow.
the selection, or it was better to be behind the bar doing some cocktails and offer a drink to girls.
Wow. But obviously, at some point early on, these shows started to pick up. More and more people started coming out
Yeah,
because
yeah, you're right.
by
That,
91, you got the invite to go to Russia. So, right. So people had heard of you.
yeah, yeah. I was lucky. First, I was lucky to one of the partner who are producing the event. Uh, the company who was producing the event, they were
Yeah.
they were doing
Tanzpol.
a Tanzpol. They were doing some importation and exportation of stuff. And then one of the partner was a French guy. His name is Stéphane, and he was a good friend of mine. And also he knows my work as a DJ. So when he proposed me Russian people organization, I can come for the party. The Russian was very happy. Say, okay, good. Let's have an international guest to celebrate the party. So I was very, very lucky to be part of this trip because that was not a question of money. I think I didn't ask any money for that. I say, okay, just pay me the trip, and I really excited to do this party because on the paper that was very excited. That was very something new because that was the first rave of CCCP. They called that the first rave of CCCP, which is crazy right now because when you think we play in December and that was during the move between CCCP to Russia.
Yeah.
So no, that was the time was exciting, and also I really like to travel and to meet new people, and that was my first gig in Russia, my
Yeah. So
very first gig.
you had already traveled at this point to other countries.
In 91, to be honest, in 91, DJs was not traveling so much. We were local DJ and we were
Okay.
work. Yeah, and in the 90s, I try to think. In the 90s, I remember I was making music with Laurent Garnier, and Laurent Garnier was traveling a little bit to Manchester. He was just traveling across the channel to go to UK, and that was maybe the first French DJ who was playing outside of France. So in the 90s, let's say not so many DJ was
Okay.
traveling. That was very something new.
Yeah. So you were probably excited just by the prospect of going to
Exactly.
another country.
Just by the trip, I was excited just by the trip, and also because um, I've seen the location. I've seen some pictures of the location with the Soyuz satellite, with all this equipment, and there is something I learned during all these years is there is no better place to make a party than a place not for making parties.
Mm.
And when I've seen this museum, I say, right, we're gonna make people dancing into the museum. That I'm sure is gonna be crazy. And then yes, at the end, that was crazy. Yes.
So in order to get there, um, I came across this story in a Russian mix
Yes.
magazine that says, well, first of all, this article claims that you went to St. Petersburg first and then you went to Moscow, but I think you
So
went
was the
straight
other
to
way. So was the other way.
Okay. So,
First was Gagarin Party in Moscow, and then I have to go to St. Petersburg for
so
the
okay.
squat thing.
And so the difficult journey was it wasn't you going to Moscow, was it you going
Now
to St. Petersburg afterwards?
the difficult journey was back to St. Petersburg to catch my flight, my Air France flight from Moscow to France, because
Oh,
the party, when I made the party in St. Petersburg, which was something crazy, this situation, I can explain then the location, that was something unique. The day after, I was supposed to come back because I believe I play for Gagarin Party on maybe Friday night, I think that was a Friday night. We have to check that, the
yeah.
days. And then on Saturday night, I was playing St. Petersburg, or I believe maybe that was Saturday night, Moscow, and Sunday night, playing St. Petersburg. And then on Monday afternoon, that was a very short trip. I have my flight back to Paris, and
I see.
the flight was the takeoff was in Moscow. So I have to go from St. Petersburg to Moscow. But the thing is, I remember when we have to access to the plane, very short flight to St. Petersburg to Moscow, we had this trouble that because we have this CCCP and Russia thing, all the flight was stopped. There is no flight anymore, or you have to prove that you are a Russian citizen to go in the
I
plane.
see.
So I was not allowed to go in the plane, but I have to take my flight in Moscow. So one of friends in St. Petersburg have given me a Russian passport, and my name was Dimitri, and I was blonde with blue hair, blue eyes, and I say, it's never gonna work. Look at the pictures on the passport and look my face. And the guy say, no worries. Just take a $5 bill, $5 in the passport. And when you give it to the guy, you don't say any word. Just give the passport and the guy is gonna take the money. I say, are you sure about that? Because if the guy send me to jail, I don't wanna play Midnight Express, the movie
Oh my
again,
gosh, yeah.
So that situation was horrible. And I was flying with my friend Stefan, which is, we speak French and Russian. And he told me, Joachim, don't say any word. If somebody shout after you, don't go back. Don't say anything because you're supposed to be a Russian. Don't speak anything. Don't say anything. So when we were walking into the airport and going to the police, I was sweating like hell. And then at the end, I given the passport with the $5 inside, and the guy take the $5. Say, "Spasiba." Go.
Wow. It's incredible how like it's not even like a rare occurrence like, oh, 1 out of 10 people
Yeah,
would take a bribe. It was just you could bet on it. It was like a
exact,
sure thing.
exact. And then that was okay. And and to give you the full story, when we were sitting in the plane, buckle up, ready to go, then there is like a Russian speaking. I say, what's going on? And I see everybody buckle up, take the buckle up, and then leave the plane. I say, what's going on? Why we don't go to Moscow? And my friends say, wait, we need to change the plane. We need to change the plane, but don't
Oh,
worry, it's okay. But I was like, what?
wow.
Can you imagine the stress? And then I land in Moscow, and in Moscow that was okay. I found the connection to go to Paris. So
Yeah.
that's the story about the fake passport. And
Just to explain to everyone why we're starting with your exit from Russia is because in our Bandsplaining video, we it was falsely reported that that was how you got into Russia. So we were
yeah.
painting this picture of like, you're coming into this other world and your first experience is like use a fake passport, don't speak any French. And and then you get to the Gagarin party and it's this it's this rave. I guess if you haven't seen the video, I'll explain. It's a rave inside of the Cosmos Pavilion, which is basically a space museum, although it's more of a multi-purpose space. I don't know, it's hard to describe. It's a big open space with satellites, spaceships hanging from the ceiling. And this is 1991, still the Soviet Union. I mean, there was nothing like this before. I mean, 3-4 years earlier, if you brought DJ equipment into this place and started playing it, undoubtedly you'd be arrested and uh I
You're right.
it's it really unheard of. But it's this massive space. It's all decked out. There's crazy decorations. There's a wall of TV monitors playing
Mm.
old
Yeah.
space launch footage, and it's freezing cold. Where it's December,
Yeah, it was
Moscow,
minus 23
Celsius.
Celsius. So
Yeah.
I don't know in Fahrenheit. Celsius, minus 23 Celsius. Outside and inside, there was cold enough that, when you're talking, you have this smoke, white smoke. So yeah, that was maybe, I don't know, that was minus 3 or 5 Celsius.
And the amazing thing is they did eventually turn on. They built these giant heaters.
Yes,
Um,
that was crazy. All these heaters, like electric heaters, and there was small heaters, and they was connecting one by one with the power plug. That was something like unique. And then that was very hot for people. That was like people were dancing close to the heater. They felt as a chicken. That was it was crazy.
and so you're taking the stage second that night. or taking the podium, as it were.
Yeah, I
Eh,
remember. I don't remember exactly. I know that we were maybe five or six for all night long, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Five. I
Yeah,
remember the guy. I remember the guy who was playing before me or after me. No, the guy who was playing after me was his name was Mr. Tape, and he was
yeah.
playing with small tapes. Was like a impossible mission, these small tapes. And why this guy was playing tapes? Because back in the days there was no vinyl in Russia. So if you want to play some British record, you have to record the BBC. So the guy was recording the radio on tape. Then he was editing every time there is a jingle, or if somebody was speaking, was editing. And then he was able to play some nice track.
We buy this tape, which is 1,000 meters, and then we cut it into smaller pieces for just for one song.
And this guy he was amazing the way he was using the two tapes, because compare a tape with a turntable vinyl. On the vinyl you can adjust the speed, but on the tape there was no way to adjust the speed except if you decrease or increase the power of the electricity. So you have like two potentiometers, and there was only the power. So it was less power or more power, and the tape was running faster or slower. That was crazy. Another world. And when I done my set, the best gift I can give to all those DJ, I have given a lot of vinyl, because when I came in Russia, I have some double and triple vinyl I loved. And I've given to all those DJs some vinyl. And for them, that was like amazing to have 2 or 3 vinyl.
These were the records you gave them. Those were songs you had backups of in
Yes.
case you wore them down or scratched them. Or
Exact. Yes. Or sometime. So that's a story. It could be something crazy right now, because it means nothing today. But back in the day, in the 90s, when you have a record you love so much, especially when I was DJing in Paris, I don't want the other DJ or the other club to have the vinyl. So I bought the 3 or 4 or 5 samples, and then there is no more in France, in Paris. So I'm the only one to be able to play this record. So now it means nothing, because now this is only digital and virtual, and everybody go on Spotify, or everybody download the same track in the same time in Russia, in Japan, or in France, or in USA. But back in the day, when you have 5 copies of the vinyl coming in Paris, if you buy the 5 copies, you're going to be the only one who going to be able to have this track.
That's amazing. Would you have to go to like a bunch of different record stores, or was there just one record store that would have
No, there is 2 or
new
3
beat
record
in-house?
stores. 2 or 3 record stores in Paris. One was more techno. The other one was more for house and garage. It depends on the style, but usually, if you like techno, you go into a special. And then I was going in Belgium a lot, because in Belgium we had some amazing record, and a lot of stuff I was playing during that night. Maybe 50% was coming from Belgium.
Yeah. I actually
More or
went
less.
through and I took your set list from that night, and I looked
Yes.
at the origin of every artist, just so I could state it correctly. If you were playing like mostly Belgian and some British newbies, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Techno.
Yeah, techno, and just a small, and maybe a little bit American record,
Yeah,
but not so much. But
indeed. Yeah.
the most is Belgium. So when I was going in Belgium, especially when you drive 5 hours from Paris to go to Belgium, you find a very good record. But that's okay to buy the 5 sample or the 5 copies and bring back everything to Paris, because you're sure you're going to be the only one to be able to play this track. So that's why in Russia, I had some double or triple, and I was very happy to give it to those people.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, soon afterwards, they developed sort of a culture of spinning records, but you may have kind of jump started that, or at least gave them a good foundation, you know.
Yeah, by chance, the lot of the equipment of the party, I want to talk about the speakers, the amplifier, was coming from Germany, because the sound system was coming from Germany. I remember, because we were not able to find power enough and enough speakers and to do something massive. And then I remember the production. I think 50% of the gear was coming from Germany.
Are you familiar with Westbomb?
Yeah, I'm familiar with them,
Because
but I'm a fan of the music, you know.
okay, because I think Westbomb had visited not Moscow or St. Petersburg, but I think he visited Riga, Latvia, and he had given Mr. Tape and some of those guys, because a lot of those guys I think were from Latvia. I think he had given them some equipment.
Yes.
So maybe there was an association between Germany. I don't know if he helped supply any equipment for Gagarin.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly, because I was not producing the night. I was just DJing. So,
Yeah.
But I was there the night before. I remember I was visiting the night before. I think I just I was there 24 hours before the party. So I checked the installation first.
And while we're still talking about your set, you know, I just want to convey to people what you were doing. I mean, you're spinning songs from our other artists. You know, these aren't songs you wrote, but you are doing a immense amount of, I mean, for lack of a better word, mixing. It's not just, oh, this track ends, we're gonna fade in the next one. You really, like, you slow down songs, you pitch change them, and you combine them. A lot of the times you're playing two songs at the same time. One of my favorite moments is when you have the song "My House Is Your House" by the Break Boys.
Yeah.
And then you start to fade in these amazing chords from Gypsy Woman.
My house is your house and your house is mine.
And it's like a 2 or 3 minute overlap before you finally go from one track to another. And it was so cool to listen to.
But thank you. So this is my you know, that's the number one thing when you're DJ, and especially an old DJ like me, it's to learn to mix a record together. You know, that's the foundation of the work of the DJ. So yeah. So no, I tried, you know, to especially during this night, I was so excited and so happy about the feedback from the crowd, because, you know, that's not very easy when you play. I think that was maybe one of the first time I was playing outside France. So I was playing for another population or another crowd. And because in 1990s, there is no internet, nobody knows any of the tracks I was playing. For them, there was only brand new stuff, brand new music. This is such, like, there is no tracks I was playing they have heard, sorry, before. So
right.
That was something strange for me, because when I was playing in Paris at The Boy, which was the club I was playing in Paris, which was a gay club, I was playing some record, and sometimes people, they recognize the tracks because they understand, they just discover the beginning and they know the tracks I'm gonna play. So the sensation of having a brand new crowd in front of you, listening brand new track for the first time, it was something very special. And I was very happy about the feedback from the crowd, because the crowd was very responsive. And even, you know, what's missing in the recording we have on the tape, it's we were missing microphone in the room to get the people was shouting. I was crazy like this. Because when I was playing, for example, the beginning of Gypsy Woman, Crystal Waters, and then I stopped when the girls start to sing, people, they was crying, they was shouting. I say, what? Can you imagine that? Because this is the first time they was listening this track, you know? So
Yeah,
that's a shame we didn't set up a microphone.
And on that subject, so did you record your set to tape, or somebody there recorded it
No,
to tape?
somebody else did it. I think there was the guy was taking care of organizing, and I didn't knew he was recording. And then when I was back in Paris a few months after, he told me, "Oh, hey, Joachim, if you want, I can send you the tape." I said, "Yeah, send it to me."
And so, because as I pointed out in the video, this is now a popular video on YouTube, the side A and side B of this tape. You can listen to the whole thing, and it's not uploaded by you. It's uploaded by I believe it's just a random account.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And
yeah. I didn't take the time. I didn't take the time to upload the thing.
I believe, you know, from what I've read, this tape basically went viral, quote unquote viral, just from being copied from one tape to another. And that set probably was played just in house parties in Russia for all of the 90s.
Yeah, you're right, because I was surprised. In 2019, I was happy to be back in Russia, in Moscow, because I was invited by the culture minister, something like that, Department of Culture, to do the opening session of the brand new Gagarin Museum Cosmos. And then in the space, in the pavilion Cosmos right now in Moscow, you have a space dedicated to Gagarin Party. And then the sound who's playing is this tape, is this
Oh,
playlist.
really? Wow.
Yes. So this
That's
is
so
cool,
cool.
because they was playing my set. So my set is still playing nonstop in this pavilion Cosmos.
It's really
that's funny.
It is really cool that this is being embraced as a part of Russian history, because
Yes.
in many ways, something I talk about in the video is how there are some people who view this as the decline of an empire, because this was a very you know, the Soviet Union was a place that put a lot of pride in space exploration, a lot of pride in Yuri Gagarin, who was the first man to go into space. And this was a rave that for some people is a expression of indulgence, of drugs, and you know, what they might say mindless dancing. And to be doing this, in some cases, climbing on top of space exhibits, climbing on top of rockets, is a great disrespect to the Soviet Union. And frankly, I don't think that's a commonly held viewpoint at all. And it's confirmed by the fact that they have this exhibit there, and you were invited to go back.
Yeah, no, I think when we were doing this party, the global feeling of the audience was something happening right now, because the young generation, they just they had this very strong feeling about the world is changing right now and is not going to be the same anymore. And but they didn't know at that time if the new world going to be better than the previous one. And to be honest, this night was out of time for me. It was like something very out of time. And for Russian people, that was maybe, for some part of the people, that was the end of the Soviet Union and something of the old world. But for the most of the people, that was the beginning of something new. And like a hope. That was a huge message of hope, I believe. I felt like this message of hope, message of freedom again. And the fact that we were able to dance into this museum, and this museum, as you told, was very respectful as a Soviet Union power. And so doing this disrespectful party in the middle of the Soviet Union um, museum like this was something I think very new for the new generation, you know. And when I was invited by the new culture department to do this opening party, I think, wow, they did very well the analysis of the situation. And right now, doing this new pavilion, Cosmos, and doing this tribute of space again, and doing this tribute of a Gagarin Party, that was something cool, you know, very cool. And I really like Russian people for that, because then they know how to optimize some problem they had or some default, you know, and they just turn everything to positive attitude, and this is great.
Yeah, I mean, it's a testament to how crazy this time was, that you had these basically these four organizers. You had the Haas brothers, and then you had Ivan Salmaksov, Yevgeny Bierman, and they were just, you know, they were just kids. I mean, they were in their early 20s probably,
Yes.
and here they were renting one of the most important museums in the country, and it was going to be for it wasn't like, you know, I think of how like my museum in Chicago, my art museum, the Art Institute, has maybe a quote unquote dance party once a year, but it's not like this. This is, you know, their dance party is for 2 hours from
Yes.
3 p.m. to 5 p.m. and there's a 2-drink maximum, and
This is for kids. This is for kids, no?
right. But this was an all-night event. I mean, it didn't even start till like 11 p.m. It went until maybe 6 or 7 a.m., right?
Yeah, very late. Very late. I
Um,
remember because we, I think we were 6 or 7 behind the desk, and then everybody was playing at minimum 1 hour and a half or maybe 2 hours. So yeah, so I think remember we start around 11 and we stop around 9 a.m. or 8 a.m.
wow.
Yeah,
And
I remember.
and you know, there's a lot of bars there. There's alcohol being served. I did read one source that talked about there was psychedelics and drugs in the audience, which was a first
To be
for
honest,
Moscow.
I didn't seen this kind of thing. Maybe because I'm not a very good customers about that. But no, I remember they used some new word like yes, trick peak or psychedelic thing. But I I I remember a lot of vodka. I remember a lot of vodka. I
Yeah.
remember that. And but except that, I don't know exact. I remember vodka, and I remember the only food they have that was small sandwiches with ham and cheese, but like big like this, because there was a part of the company who was producing sandwiches or something like that, I believe. You know.
Yeah, the sponsor of it was called Krinta, a
Yes.
Russian. They were a seafood company, but looking at the pictures, I do see ham sandwiches. So maybe
Yeah.
they're a seafood company, but they also did a little bit of ham as
Yeah,
well.
there was only ham and cheese.
Okay, that's good to know. I should have checked with you before I published the video.
No, but
But
your video was amazing, I have to say. And when I watched the video, I say, wow, for the first time, this is a very perfect video with a lot of details. No, that was very good. I have to say you did an amazing job. That's why
I
I
really
decided
appreciate that.
to jump in the comment, because I said, wow, for the first time, somebody give the truth with the right thing, with the right attitude and the right comment. So congrats for that.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that. I I just want to get back to the one point though, just, the fact that they were able to, these kids were able to set up this all-night party at a very famous Russian institution. Um, and there was probably just a few police officers there, and they were just kind of scared standing in the corner. And there was also, from what I've read about, there was also a lot of like criminals, like, they call them gopniks, or gang members who would maybe hang out outside and kind of mess with people. And it was just this really chaotic time where, in order for them to pull this off, I bet they had to pay a ton of bribes. I mean, it was $10,000 to rent the space, and that was a lot of money for in Russia at the time, which was using rubles, which didn't have an exchange rate yet.
Yeah.
But they had to pay off. I heard that the cops came in and they just took a big chunk of the money in exchange for just letting this happen. And some of the gopniks and gang members had to come take some money. So this is just stuff that I've read, but I'm curious if you could see any of this crime happening.
No, the only thing I can tell you, there is only few policemen. There is something like maybe 3 or 4 policemen total.
Wow.
I remember. And after that, talking about the audience and gangsters and this kind of thing, I didn't have any, I didn't see something. I don't have any information about that.
Okay.
But I think there was that was the base. Yeah, for sure. There was a place very easy to have gangsters. There was a lot of different people. I remember different style of people, and I was happy also to make this cosmonaut dancing on the dance floor. For me, that was something crazy for me. And having, because I met the guy, they introduced me to this astronaut, and
Grechko,
this astronaut,
I believe.
Grechko, and he was a part of the Gagarin mission. So he was a partner of a Gagarin mission party. And then this guy was super happy to be here, and he was dancing like this. I say, what? Can you imagine? You make Russian cosmonaut dancing on the dance floor. This is my peak time.
Was that during your set, or was that later in the night?
That was no. He came before. He came very early, because maybe he wants to have some sandwiches and some vodka. He came early, and then I remember seeing him before I was playing. So I shake his hand before I was at the desk, and then I was DJing, and I see him dancing with girls and this kind of thing. And he was wearing the same coat, very old and very Russian, and this guy was not. There was something very special in the party. You see a lot of girls dancing, and I remember there was a lot of guys was half naked because it was so hot with the electric power. And this guy was this old cosmonaut was in the middle of the crowd and say it's something special.
Wow. Yeah. In the book that the organizer wrote about this, Andre Haas wrote a book.
Yes.
He says that Grechko came at like 5 a.m. and was dancing, and I kind of found that hard to believe. And from the videos I've seen, yes, I think they kind of back up what you're saying.
On the video, because I think I have to find again this video. I have a VHS tape, and the VHS tape, you have all the advertisement in Russian they made before the party with Gagarin Party, and then I have a full report of some, because I remember there was two big camera, the very old one, like a big one. And I remember we had two on close to the party was filming. And there is one, and I've got this VHS tape. I have to find it again, because you see this cosmonaut coming very early. It's at the beginning of the party. It's not 5 a.m.
Oh, okay.
Maybe he stayed. I think he stayed very late.
Okay. Yeah, he was having a good time. Yeah.
Exactly.
So maybe it's not that inaccurate. Um, you were saying, you know, you didn't see any sort of crime or any gangsters or anything in
No,
Moscow, but the next day when you went to St. Petersburg and you went to Andre and Alexei Haas's house, which was
exact,
Tanzpol, their
exact.
makeshift music venue, you have a pretty crazy story, a pretty funny story on when you first walked up the stairs.
Yeah, no, I remember because I seen this in the video, and I was surprised you get this story because I didn't remember. I told somebody this story, but you're right. When I went, because when I was playing to St. Petersburg, we don't get any money to get a hotel, so I was sleeping direct in Andreas' place in his apartment. So I remember we was going on the 5 or 6 floors, I was walking up, and then I remember the first time I was into Andreas' apartment, and I've seen these wheels 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I say, Andreas, are you managing a garage of cars? Are you doing some? What are you doing with cars? And I remember the guy told me, no, this is because I have some friends here coming just to have dinner with you. And when you come, you have to take your wheels with you. I say, what? Are you joking? I say, no. And that's why tomorrow after the party, when I need to drop you off to the airport, we have to take 1 more hour because we have to get down, take the wheels on the cars, take all the parpaing, I don't remember, I don't know the name in English,
The
but
wrench or the screws
yeah,
and
yeah.
bolts.
And then you need 45 minutes before. And then for
And
sure
it's
you have,
freezing cold out too.
it's freezing cold, and then you so that I was shocked about that because that was something new for me. When you have some friends coming to have dinner at your place, ask them to bring their wheels.
And
So
obviously, what they were worried about is that people would steal them.
exact. That was only because there was just worry of after your dinner, you go back to your car and you don't have any wheels.
So clearly, it's happened. It's happened enough times to people that it's
Yep.
worth them taking an extra 45 minutes each time and all that effort. And you
Can you
know,
imagine that?
no,
So something. There was something. There was small details, but there was something special for me when I've seen this. Huh? I say, okay, can you imagine how lucky I am? I'm living in France, in Paris. You can leave your car there, and even your windshield or your wind shield.
your
How do you say it in
yeah,
English?
windshield is right.
Yeah, windshield. Okay. No, but you don't have to take every parts from your cars every time you go
Yeah, no,
for dinner. So yeah, I was surprised about that. Yeah.
I think I feel bad for people when here in Chicago they have to take they have to take one wheel off their bike when
Yes.
they park their bicycle because people will steal the
Yeah.
wheel. But that's easy. You take that off, you carry it with one hand, you
Yeah,
bring it
yeah.
up
But
into your
that's not the
office
case.
building.
That's not the case with the car.
No, I think you have to carry those one at a time.
But then
Uh,
this is not only this, is because when your car is not with wheel, you have to be stable. So you need to bring some stones, and you have to be full equipment with wood, with a lot of crazy. But anyway,
yeah, but it's a testament too to what Andre and Alexei Haas were doing because they found this building it was right in downtown St. Petersburg,
exact, yes.
which must have been going through rough times. I mean, it's nowadays it's probably multi-million dollar property. It's right on
For
the
sure,
canal.
for sure, because that was in front of the river. That was very in front. That was border to the river. And I remember when I went, because first I've been to the apartment to drop my stuff and to have this dinner with all those very friendly people. And a lot of those people were in Moscow the day before. So they were
Yeah.
very happy to share the dinner with the DJ of the day before, the night before. So we have this very cool dinner, and then we went all together to the party. And the party was into this building, and this building, it was like a squat, because I remember I remember two things. The first one is they had some hole in walls to go from one room to another room, because
Just a hole.
because they joined some apartments. So there was a multiple apartment, and to be able to have larger rooms, they just made a full hole in the wall. And then we were moving from one apartment to another apartment, going through this hole. I say, okay. And then I remember the gear we had at the party was very minimum. There was two speakers, but like a amplifier, the one you can use in your bedroom, maybe to listen for TV. So that was not so
Wow.
powerful. That was okay, but that was not so powerful. And then there is no light, and there is two turntable and the mixer. Okay, the vinyl and the mixer. Okay, so that was okay for me to play some track. But I remember when I start to play, a girl come to me and say, "Hey, stop the music, stop the music." Okay, stop the music. And then in the street, you can see the police was looking for something. I don't know. So we were not able to do the party. That was not authorized. That was not. That was forbidden to do this party. And then every time somebody was approaching in the street, we have to stop the music. So that was not very easy for me to make the people and the crowd happy, but that was something special. Can you imagine that you're playing into a squat, and I was playing a record, and every 20 minutes somebody say, "Hey, stop the music." So you stop the music, stop the light. You see the police, and then okay, drop the music again, and drop the music.
It's just crazy. Like the perseverance, the
Yes.
perseverance and determination to make this rave scene happen.
Yeah. I was very proud to be part of this project for them, because um, that was something that was cool to help those people. They really deserve that, because this all the credibility they have, the money, and for them there was a big risk to do this kind of party. You can go to jail, or you can they take all the gear, the equipment.
Yeah.
No, but I was very happy to do that this night. It was something different than the night before, because we moved from maybe 5,000 people. In Pavillon Cosmos, I've read three different numbers. I read one numbers was 30,000, but I don't think there were 30,000. I think this is more 3,000,
I think
people.
it's 3,000. I don't remember totally off the top of my head.
Yeah,
But
because I've seen on the Wikipedia something with bad numbers. But so that was 3,000. In St. Petersburg, we were maybe 150 or maybe 200 people,
but it's a very small space.
But compared
St.
to the
Petersburg.
size of the space, that was like my room here, that was the main section, when the dance floor, that was like my room here, exactly.
Yeah. So we've already talked about your flight back home. We
Yes.
led off with your day starts with putting the wheels back on Alexei or Andre Haas's car, and then
Yes.
you use a fake passport. You all get shuffled off the plane unexpectedly, but you eventually you get to Moscow. You get on your flight back to Paris,
Yes.
and you're back home. And um, did over the course of the 90s, you would start playing bigger and bigger parties. So I guess did your experiences in Russia hang with you over this time, just remembering the reaction you got there?
First, to answer to your question, first, when I was back home, I was very satisfied by all the experience, and I tried to share the experience with people around me, but I didn't found the right word to explain what was the situation in Russia. And then after many days, we've seen the CCP is dead, Brand New Russia, and this new generation. And so I was happy to have made the link between these two universes by making this party. And then I think I went back to Russia maybe maybe 6 or 7 years after that, maybe, yes. 7 years after that, maybe, yes, yes. But the scene was completely different. And then I started to play in clubs. For the first time, when I was playing, there was club, and let's say there was VIP champagne club, and already in 2000 or end of the 90s, the club scene was already taken by rich people and VIP people. And there was a very different feeling that what I've have with the Gagarin Party. There was no way. Just to let you know that before that, I remember in 93, I went back with Laurent Garnier and we played together into bicycle area, and the party was mobile party.
In Russia?
Party. In Russia, yes.
Oh, really? Wow.
And I was in 92 or 93, maybe 1 year or 2 years after the Gagarin Party. The same organization, they were so happy about what
Tanzpol.
I made. Yeah, Tanzpol, they asked me to come, and I said, okay, this time I want to come with a friend of mine. You don't know his name is Laurent Garnier, but okay, come with him if you want. Okay, so we've been together, and we were playing in center of the mobile party, and mobile party was people was doing bicycle around all night long.
Wow.
So I still have some pictures of this one. And then after, there was the club scene and VIP champagne scene, so different feeling.
Yeah, I've read about that shift, and I cover that a little bit in the video.
Yes.
One of the organizers of the Gagarin Party, Ivan Salmaksov, he became a DJ himself, and he opened a club in Moscow, and he was murdered by rival promoters. It's technically an unsolved mystery because his body was never found, but there was blood. His blood was found in his apartment, and he hasn't been spotted since. But it's believed that he was killed by rival promoters just because it became such a cutthroat industry. There was a lot of mobsters involved who wanted to make money off of this. So you noticed that in Russia. Was that happening in other European cities as well? Did that happen in France or Belgium or?
Not so much. Not so much. No, Russian was a very special market, a special crowd, a special way of producing parties. And but no, I try to find different places in Europe can be similar, but no, there is not.
But as far as like the champagne scene, with the parties becoming rich, the clubs becoming richer and wealthier, did that happen in France, elsewhere in Europe?
Yeah, but in France and in Europe, yes, for sure, we had this VIP champagne clubs coming bigger and bigger. But in the same time, you still have some party with real clubbers and people just wearing shirts and just come to enjoy the music. We still have both scenes in parallel together.
Gotcha.
In Russia, unfortunately, the most of the money was taken by the VIP champagne thing. And then I had one time I had a party in I know that was in Ukraine. No, that was in Ukraine, but I have some party in Ukraine, more techno and more underground. But a lot of party I was playing after that, after the 2000 in Russia, was more VIP and champagne area, which is a different crowd. You can imagine,
Yeah. And so for the record, you spent about the next 10 years playing DJing, spinning records. And is it around the year 2000 that you started to produce music as well?
Yeah, I was producing music since yeah, you're right. Maybe in 2000 I started to do it regularly and to produce music weekly and say, okay, I'm gonna now produce my own music, and then I'm gonna work with different people. And because I was lucky to have this classical music education, I had, and then I have also this knowledge about computer and producing music on my computer. I was the number one license of Pro Tools in France. I was a license 00001 in France.
No
That was
kidding.
me. So yeah,
Wow.
so I was the first one to use Pro Tools. So I had some facility to help people to produce music. So that's why in 2000, at the beginning of the French Touch movement, I was lucky to work with Cassius, with Bob Sinclair, to Daft Punk before they became Daft Punk, you know, and David Guetta and Martin Solveig and Antoine Clamaran, all the French DJs. They were happy to come in my studio because in my studio we have Pro Tools and I have the knowledge of musical instrument playing. So that was good that was easy to make music together. So I start to produce a lot of music for different people under different names, and I help people. And I was lucky to produce 3 albums for David Guetta. There was 120 songs for him, or some. And then I became successful as a music producer for other people, you know.
Yeah, with David Guetta, you were a co-writer, right? You were actually writing music with him.
I was co-producer, co-writer, and co-publisher.
Yeah, because you're a co-writer along with him and releasing those songs, and a number of those, I believe, have gone in the top 10 on the Billboard chart in the
Yeah,
US.
we were lucky to have some top 10 in the Billboard. Yes, you're right. Love Don't Let Me Go, Love Is Gone, The World Is Mine. We made some success together. Yeah, so that was great because we had for the first time there was a brand new work. No, not brand new work, but brand new idea about what a DJ can do. DJ can also write music and be producer. So we made the bridge between just playing record and playing your own records, which makes a huge difference at the end.
Yeah, yeah, you also started to write completely your own music, like just by yourself. So like I think about the first track you played at Gagarin Party. It was it's called Brazil by a group called Spectrum.
Exactly. Yes.
So at this time, was this group Spectrum, were they not considered DJs themselves? Were they just writing this music to be released for other people to go and play at parties and clubs?
Yes, I think so. At the beginning, those people, they was producing music, and there is only few people was writing, producing, and playing music.
Okay.
Back in the days, I remember a guy called Frank de Wolf, which is the Belgian artist, and he produced a lot of tracks, and he was also playing sometime as a DJ. But let's say in 2000, you were staying in the studio and you were producing music, or you were on stage and you were playing music from the other.
I see.
And then we merged the two jobs as one. Yes.
Yeah, and I forget when your first solo album came out.
2000. I don't remember. 2006, something like that. Yes.
And when I play the first track, well, the very first track is just hyping everything up. It's an ambient track that, but the second track where it kind of kicks in fully, I'm a little biased, but it makes me think of your Gagarin Party set a little bit. it has this very pumping energy to it, but it's still very it's very like noisy and like speaker bursting, but it's also very melodic and
Yeah.
blissful.
That's a good good word.
And
You're right. I like that.
I wonder if you because you started DJing in the late 80s when Belgian new beat and
Yeah.
was just kind of coming together. When you started creating your own music decades later, I mean, at least 15 years later or so, were you still kind of inspired by those early records?
Yeah, for sure. Because you're always inspired by the track you were playing, or yeah, and that's funny because right now we are in 2024 and I'm producing a new album, and this brand new album sounds like album from the 90s, but with the new test of the 2024. But I'm using the same way of playing with the feeling of people, give them emotion by playing some beautiful strings and pads, and giving them a lot of energy by playing some kick bass drum very hard. And then I like that. So I'm still using the same recipe, we can say that, to produce music. And a lot of these recipes come from what I have in my vinyl, how do you say that? Vinyl case
Yeah.
when I was DJing.
Do you still play those records ever when you do live sets?
I'm doing one per year. I'm doing a vinyl only. It's a vinyl only party at Le Rex. Le Rex is a famous club in Paris, and this is maybe the oldest club. And the idea is I'm just bring my two cases of vinyl, exactly the same I had in Gagarin Party, same vinyl, and then I'm playing this kind of music, and that's cool. And I'm gonna play in February 24, 20, yes, 24, February 24, in one month, close to Belgium. We're doing a Serious Beat Party, which is Serious Beat Party is going to be a kind of party with this kind of music.
So you always do that once every year at least?
I'm trying. I like that. I like those records. I like to play Spectrum. I like to play Mental Cube and this kind of thing, because I like that. I like those sound. I like those melodies. I like the feeling. And maybe this is a little bit nostalgic thing,
Yeah.
but I like that. I like that.
I'm gonna watch your check for your live dates, and I'm gonna try and see one of these shows if I can make the trip one of these
Okay.
days.
Okay, cool. I have to do one in Chicago, and then let's
Yeah.
produce one in Chicago. The Chicago,
Okay.
there is a good scene for that.
Yeah.
So let's work on that. You know some place.
I do. I know all like the indie rock venues.
In Iraq, yeah. But last time I played in
I'm
Chicago, there was Crowbar, this
okay.
kind of, yeah. And I don't remember, but I play this kind of house, which is good club, good sound system, and not so huge, but enough for 300 people, and it's perfect sound. So let's do
Okay.
that.
Yeah. I know. Yeah. Well, someone who watches this video later will know
Okay.
the right place in Chicago.
Come back to us. Okay, guys, from Chi-Town, we need you.
Exactly. All right. Well, I want to stay courteous of your time. Honestly, I can't thank you enough for doing this and telling us more about the Gagarin Party. Um, you know, just what is there anything more that I should have asked you that I didn't ask you, or anything more that you feel like people should know about this time in your life? And
Yeah. No, I want, yeah, maybe, especially right now in 2024, we have this war between Ukraine and Russia, and I'm very sad about that, because I think, I don't want to do any political thing, but I think uh, there's something unfair about what's going on right now in Russia, and and I don't want to be part of one camp against another camp, Ukraine's versus Russia. But I played a lot in Russia and I played a lot in Ukraine. And those brothers, that makes no sense. They're doing this war. That makes no sense for me. And I hope it's gonna stop very soon because I have friends in Russia, I have friends in Ukraine, and they are both sad. And nobody loves wars for sure. But right now, this is maybe something I really want to say that I hope is gonna stop soon, because I want to be able to go back in Russia to play again in Russia. I want to be able to go back to Dnipropetrovsk in Ukraine to play again in Ukraine, because I love those people. I love those crowd. And especially right now, to be part of the history of this Russian story by being part of this Pavilion Cosmos in Moscow, into the Gagarin Party. I feel very close to those people, and I hope I hope I'm gonna be able to come back soon and do party again in Ukraine and do party again in Russia, and because those people, I really love those people. They're really part of my own history right now.
Yeah, and I mean, the Bandsplaining, our YouTube channel, we've written about the war, both as far as like what's happening to bands in Ukraine, like what's happening to their music scene right now, and what's happening to Russia's music scene, and how there is like a lot of bands being canceled because they speak out about the war. And I think that it's hard for people to do this, but it's like it's not the people's fault that this is happening, right?
Exactly.
It's a lot of people can pass judgment coming from the US or Western Europe and say, hey, well, if the people don't want this war, they should rise up and topple their leader. But
Yeah.
what, are you going to be the one person doing that in Russia and get tackled immediately by a police officer and then spend the rest of your life in jail? I mean,
No, it's impossible.
it's
It's very
impossible.
hard. It's very hard. Yes, that was much more easy back in the 90s. That's crazy, but right now, this is pretty hard for people to have their voice loud and clear.
Yeah, they have to speak in metaphors. They have to speak very subtly, and then when they do, people like Boris Grebenshchikov, which we've written about, a famous punk rock singer,
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
been exiled from the country. So many people have
Exactly.
been exiled. But like learning about the Gagarin Party and the Haas brothers and all the people in Tanzpol, it's like these are super philosophical, artistic, worldly people who like I don't know what their politics are specifically. I don't need to know, but I know that they're not just drones who are brainwashed by Vladimir Putin,
Yeah.
and they're people who deserve so much better than what they're getting,
Mm.
both from the Russian government, but also from our Western governments. Like we shouldn't. I don't want to just completely cancel Russia and not share any stories of Russian music.
Yeah, you're right.
So I'm glad. A long way of me saying I'm glad that I'm able to talk with you about this. And
Yeah, no, but
share
I
this
think
story.
I think you did a great job for that, and especially as a US person, it's not easy for you to do a good report about something good happening in Russia, especially today. It's a very brave thing to publish this on your on your network.
I appreciate that, and I think it only the video hasn't quite taken off like I hope. So maybe that's part of the reason why. But no.
No, but yes, but it's a part of the reason because the algorithm is not, don't like really this way of promoting something happening in Russia. That's that's a algorithm. You know, it's
Yeah.
you're not in phase with the algorithm. Maybe it's better to do some video with cats or this kind of thing.
Yeah, well, also it's the beauty of it is these videos take off randomly
Yes.
months later
Yeah.
because the stories never get old. They're the
Yeah,
stories
yeah. So
just build.
you don't have to be you're not in a rush. So I think it's gonna come,
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
and that's why also I was happy to come in the comment and to write something because it can help also to have more people viewing the
Oh, totally.
story. Yeah, and I think it's great to sharing this kind of very great video. And once again, congratulations for that because you are the first one to make the best video about this event. And I've seen some videos already, but I was not so well informed and the way you did it is perfect.
Well, I really appreciate that. And before I go, I just want to mention too, you do you still do a regular live stream? I know you do a regular
Yep.
podcast.
Yeah, I'm doing a regular, you know what? I'm doing a podcast called The Mix, and this is number 950. It means that I'm doing this like since 950 weeks. So this
Wow.
is 17 years doing
Wow.
this weekly podcast, and then I'm doing live. I'm doing production live. I'm making music with people, like collaborating, but this is in French, and I'm doing this every Thursday at 9 p.m. European time. And I'm doing music with people. And the good thing is, because we are doing music together, I'm gonna release a brand new album in May, double vinyl, 16 track, only techno, and a lot of those techno are inspired by Gagarin Party feeling.
Awesome.
So that's a good conclusion, no?
No, that's perfect. And I'll include links to these things in the description below.